Good morning and welcome. Welcome to my live stream, Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. It's a warm welcome, and I'm glad you found me on Facebook. And I am here as a loving father and a husband to try to help you with your case of CPS. Now, what I call CPS is the Child Protection System. It's found in every county in every state and worldwide. And it is a government agency created in the United States by an act of Congress in 1962 that mandated a group of social workers from social services form a group to be a watchdog of the safety of our children to protect them from neglect and abuse. Furthermore, it's supposed to help out families with reunifications when the family is broken apart. They've found out through lots of studies that the best parents are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. Now, my live stream is interactive, meaning that you all can participate in this live stream. Isn't just hearing me talk for an hour. But it seems lately I've not had very many people on, and I've done a lot more talking. Now, I don't mind talking, but I do like the interacting. So if you have a message and you want to send me a message, just text it in the form of a question or a comment about CPS. A question or a comment about CPS. And I'll do my best to try to answer that question. I'll do my best to try to answer that question. And all I ask is your first name and the location. And if you're outside the United States, put down your country. Yes, this is a worldwide, so I do have 24 countries outside the U.S. that have talked or texted on this live stream. They too have problems with CPS. Now, with the U.S., it's 25 countries. I've heard from Indonesia, Bangladesh, and India. Then up to the Middle East, I've heard from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Libya. Then over to the continent of Africa, I've heard from Liberia, Sudan, Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and South Africa and its provinces. Then up to Europe and the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, and then I have Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond in North America, I have Canada and its provinces. I have the United States, and all 50 states have called in. All 50 states I've heard from. In fact, I've even heard from Washington, D.C. Then south of the border have been Mexico. Then further south in Central America have been Belize. And then down in South America, north of Brazil on the East Coast, been Grenada. And across the South Pacific has been New Zealand, and the land down under Australia and its states. So that's 2,950 people I've heard from. 2,950 people. It's getting close to almost 3,000 people. And I've been doing this live stream for 24 months. 24 months. And today is a special day. Today's my birthday. I didn't realize it. And today is my birthday. Wow. Happy birthday, Bob. Happy birthday, Bob. And I'm glad that I'm able to help you all with my knowledge and wisdom. I'm a loving father and a husband. I have 43 years of marriage and helped raise 6 children. I've worked 61 years. 61 years. It's a long time. I have lots of life skills to share with you. lots of life skills. Now, besides text a message, you can be a guest on my live stream. To be a guest, all you have to do is pick one of my 14 live streams. I'm on twice a day. I'm on every morning at 10 a.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. on weekends. And at nighttime, I'm on at 7 p.m. every night of the week. There may be time from time I change my time due to family commitments. But I'm here. Those times I give you to are Pacific Standard Time, the West Coast of California. I'm south of LA, in a place called Surf City, USA, and I'm 3 blocks from the beach. 3 blocks from the beach, so I'm close to the beach. So I'd like very much to hear you. I can take up to 9 of you at one time on live stream. And all you do is email me at my email at bpace@vincentwdavis.com. bpace@vincentwdavis.com. You just give me your name, your email, your phone number, and what time you want to be on. Like I want to be on Bob's Sunday morning show or Bob's Friday night show or Bob's Wednesday morning show. You just pick one of those times. And I love to have you. I love to have you. The rules are simple. We don't allow smoking or eating on the show. Uh, we are respectful to one another. And we talk about topics to do with CPS. We're not politics. We don't want to talk about politics. I know it's hard not to, but it is hard there. We do not use the names of children, social workers, or judges on the show. And that's about all to it. Now, my show producer, Grace, will send you a link. You just copy and paste to your browser. You knocked off, the link's still good, do it again. And I look forward to hearing from you and being a part of this live stream. Great. I've had 3 or 4 people on at the same time. So uh, you can, as I say, be a guest. Lastly, I want to put my phone number up. That means I can take your phone call. I'm at 626 698-0990, and you can talk to me. You can call in to that number. It's my private number, and you can talk to me. The other number you see on the screen and the ticket that's going below, 888-888-6582, is the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. Here's a professional attorney schooled in the areas of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law that will definitely fight your CPS case. He has 40 years of experience. He also is a trial attorney. He can do trials with criminal parts to it. And he's also a civil rights attorney. He can sue CPS after the case is done. He can sue them. He's won millions of dollars both in state court and federal court. State court and federal court. And so when you call in to reception, just tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you speak to Vincent Davis, make sure you tell him the same, that Bob Pace sent you. And there where you can hire him. He's available. And he was my attorney. Now, he works out of LA County primarily, but he'll work any place in the U.S. And it's just additional costs. Now, in LA County, it's approximately $5,000 retainer and $500 an hour. That may vary because that's the estimate, because we do not know the complexity of your case, how long the case has been going on. The more complex your case is, the more complexity is going to be a higher amount of money. But it's very reasonable. Very reasonable. It's pretty much the same across the country with other attorneys. It varies anywhere from $100 to $1,000. It all depends on the attorney, the location. It's my rule number one that we hire an attorney. Now, when you also call that number to our reception, they have guides that you can purchase and manuals and so forth. One guide to try to push is a new one called the Grandparent Guide for Adopting Your Grandchildren. It's a step-by-step guide. It's $9.99, but you can get it all for half off by using my name, capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E, the number 50, pays 50, and that will get you that book for less than $5. There are other books in there of how to fight CPS and other issues like that. So just ask away, and they'll tell you that. There is also a website that you can go to. Uh, it's up on the upper right hand corner. If you look at my page, uh, it's called the stand.store forward slash uh, forward slash attorney forward slash VWD. So Also, that website, you see a lot of packages on there too and stuff. Okay, it seems like people are in and out. Uh, well, hopefully they'll back. Well, thank you. Sis. Okay. Doing. right. We have one person, and I'm looking for comments in there. My phone number is up. I've told you how to text a message to me and how to be a guest. Um, all I ask is something to answer or how to help you. You need to talk to me about how you want some help because I'm here to help you as best as I can. Well, we're still waiting for people to ask me a question. I can talk about my 5 rules again, which I've talked to numerous times. Rule 1 is to get an attorney. You want to make sure the attorney is properly trained and licensed in the area of CPS. They should have a background in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. That's what you need when you fight CPS in court. Now, it's not a criminal court, it's a court run by a judge, and the judge is the one that makes the decision. It's almost like a bench court. It's where the judge makes a decision, no jury trial. I really believe it should be a jury trial because the allegations can be very serious and rob the family of wrongdoing. And to put one person in charge is really a sad thing because you see, when allegations are made by anybody, CPS must believe they're true. So you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And I know a lot of innocent people, 2,100, 950 people have called in and they were innocent. I'm one of those. I had a similar problem. I too had a CPS case that dealt with a rogue CPS entity. They're over 50-50 chance you get a right one or a bad one. You don't know. You don't know. And so, with that being said, it's very important. And good morning, Christina Reynoso. Thank you for the thumbs up emoji. That was sweet of you, Christina. How's that trailer working out that you got? The Apache trailer. The trailer called the Apache. Looks like a nice roomy trailer. Nice and warm in there. You got to keep it warm because you're in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's cold there. Nevada is cold right now this time of year. I know in the summer times it gets warm, but this is winter time now. This is winter time. Anyway, I'm talking about my rules, Christina, and we're talking about rule one to get an attorney. They're hard to find a good one, but you gotta at least interview three of them, and they should. There's two important questions you need to ask of each of them. Question one: are you a juvenile law, family law, defense law attorney who's fought CPS and won cases? If the answer is yes, you want to ask the second question. After your case, the CP case is over, have you ever fought CPS and won civil lawsuits? And if the answer is yes, then you got yourself a good attorney. That's one you need to interview and pursue. So after you find three people like that, and I already have one, it's Vincent W. Davis, and he meets all the criteria. And already told his fee there earlier. So all you need to do is talk to him, and see how you feel the chemistry between you and Vincent Davis. But the other two, you still need to pick. You need to call them, ask those two questions, and then meet with them if they answer yes to both questions. All you need is three quotes. Then you make a decision, your gut feeling about the chemistry, and not necessarily the price. I know the price will be important, but there's two things you can help out with the price. One of them is a life skill. Look into legal insurance. Yes, you heard me correctly. They have life insurance, they have medical insurance, they have house insurance, they have car insurance, they have even pet insurance. Well, look into legal insurance because if you've been paying that yearly premium, then you might be eligible for them to cover the retainer of your attorney if you get involved in a legal matter. So I'm telling you, look into that. That's a life skill. G2. Also, we look into other valuable resources. I had to quick sell my home to get the money to hire my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. And I know a lot of you don't want to necessarily hire or don't have the funds to hire. If you don't have the funds to hire, then you best recourse is to stick with the attorney they're going to give you, which will not be a good attorney. It'll be a criminal attorney and not a CPS attorney, not someone schooled in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. And they work for CPS, so they're not going to win your case. Good morning and welcome to my live stream. This is Bob Pace, and who I have the pleasure of talking to.
Good morning, sir. My name is Ted. Are you live on TV right now on YouTube, or this is a private conversation?
No, this is a live conversation. And where did you say you're from?
I'm from Long Beach.
Long Beach, California. Well, welcome.
Can you please, this is the first time I ran into your show. Can you please just tell us when it's usually aired?
What's the question again? Say it again.
When does your show air?
Oh, my show airs 2 times a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 live streams. I'm on it on the weekends at 8 a.m. On the weekdays, I'm on at 10 a.m. And then at nighttime, I'm on 7 p.m. every night of the week, all 7 days. That's 14 live streams.
Here's my experience. I've had an extensive history of social services coming knocking on the door and wanted to know what my kids are doing and what's what. Back in 2005, I was going through a divorce, and I had gotten pissed because the judge had given my wife full custody, full physical custody, and full legal custody on the very first day in court before he even reviewed the facts. But she walked in there with an attorney, and I was told that this is just the first day. They don't do anything. They don't make any major decisions.
Well, they got to make a custody arrangement the first day of court because you're going through a divorce. Now, usually in Long Beach, California, they usually make you see a marriage counselor a couple times before you go through with the divorce proceedings in court.
You can take usually in this case, and you can throw it out the window.
I agree.
The case was heard. The case was heard in San Fernando courts in 2005, I believe. On the very first day in court, when I was told that all they do is ask your name, how many children you have, and such, on that very first day, Judge Zacon gave my daughter to my wife for full custody and full physical custody. And when I argued, he was not even a judge. That was the first mistake I made. So for your own information, all of you listening, in family law, if you ever go to family law, or as a matter of fact, if you could ever go to court, any court, my golden advice to you, to all of you, is if you can help it, never stipulate to a commissioner. This is going to be your first and deadly mistake. You make that first mistake, and your life is done. So there was a sheriff deputy there. You call him by a different name associated with animals, but I'm not going to do that this time.
No, they're bailiffs. They're called a bailiff in the court to keep law and order.
Yeah, I have a name for that starts with B.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, so he made me sign a paper, a yellow paper, and I said, "What is this paper for?" This paper just says that you're here today in court. So that was the first and the last deputy I ever trusted. I signed the paper and I gave it to him. Do you know what that paper was?
It was
called a stipulation, which means that you agree to be represented, to have your case heard, not by a judge, by an attorney who fills the position. Now, here's the problem with it. There's no difference. There's no difference between an attorney who fills the position and a judge. Sometimes they call them pro temp. Sometimes they call them commissioners. So what they do, they're all qualified. They have to have 10 years, at least 10 years of being an attorney, hopefully in the field that they're assigned in, and they will bring them in, and they will pay them by the day to fill that one position. Let's say a judge calls off, then they call from their list, and they bring that attorney, and they give him a black robe, and he is called a judge pro tem for the day. Here's what the problem is. The major problem judge makes a ruling in your case, again, he didn't like it, and shows up for one day and then disappears, who are you going to have rehear your case? He won't rehear your case because that's not his normal position, not his normal courtroom, not his normal setting. So that's the first mistake you're going to make is stipulate to a commissioner or approve them. So in my case, just so you can learn, I trusted the sheriff and I signed that paper. That's number one mistake. We tried later on after 10 days to have that decision to give full legal custody and full physical custody to my wife changed, and we couldn't. The judge said you have to have it heard by the Court of Appeal, and you can understand that from 2005 until now 2020, I have lost custody of that child. I have not seen that child in about 14 or 15 years. I have exhausted all appeals. I have driven all the way to the state Supreme Court where they told me that only 2% of the cases are ever heard. So let's say you lose your child, you lose your retirement, you lose your home, you lose your job, you lose your health, you lose your sanity, you lose your property, and you want to take this one judge or the three judges in the appellate court, in my case it was the second appellate district on 3rd Street Spring in downtown LA, the rest of the clouds over there.
Yeah.
They are the same clouds from the bunch of attorneys. They play a game, they're the same people, they're the same group, they just keep assigning each other from one position to another. They are scooped from the same bunch of people. They have no they don't have the interest of the American people at heart, let me tell you that. So, after I exhausted all my efforts with the 3rd appellate district, I drove all the way to San Francisco so I can submit it to the state Supreme Court. And there, they told me that my case was rejected. What did my case entail? Given full custody and full physical custody to the DX, given my wife half of my retirement, even though the retirement was 4 attorneys or 3 attorneys all said that the kids stay at home. Well, on that very first day when we left the court, this social worker is calling the mother to have her sign a paper which states she forces the mother and forces my 2 kids to stay with the mother for 1 week on and 1 week off, when the mother cannot accommodate the kids in her setting right now. And mostly, she said in her report to the court that it is that my anger, supposedly I'm angry because child support services come up every other day to take every other year to take my kids away. So I'm angry, and I'm argumentative, and it's probably my culture. So I'm trying to let you all know now, if you don't have anything against this social worker, I will file a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department citing discrimination in my race, in my faith, and in my beliefs, which she cited. Why would she say that it's probably his culture? She's not even familiar with my culture. I'm a U.S. citizen living in America for 37 years. What culture is she referring to? I want to let you know some of these people are scum. You're facing the scum of the earth, and to justify their $150,000 a year salary, they have to victimize your children. And as David has said it once, this lies with the corrupt politicians who made the laws that these people are acting on. These people and the police and the teachers and the politicians are using these laws to stay in power and to control you and your families. And if you think that Trump is the worst scum that has ever existed, and he was elected by people.
Okay. Excuse me for a second, sir. Excuse me for a second. May I get a word in edgewise? Hello?
Yes.
May I get a word in edgewise? I'll let you talk now for almost 30 minutes now. I like to go back to the very beginning. The one thing very important you didn't mention, do you ever think about having an attorney?
I exhausted all monies with the attorneys. Remember, I'm on Social Security.
No. I meant in the very beginning. In the very beginning, because it sounds like to me this was more than just a divorce. This was a CPS custody battle. Okay, it was a CPS. Okay, can I say something, or you want to interrupt me some more? All right. What I'm trying to tell you, I'm speaking from talking on the show now for over 25 months and talking to 2,950 people from around the world, not only from the U.S., but from around the world. And what I have heard you say that you didn't start at the beginning is that this actually is a CPS case. It's not a divorce case. It's a combination because you're in family court, you're in juvenile court, you're in dependency court. You're all three together. And with that being said, you don't have to agree. You were right. I don't know why you agreed to stipulate that the commissioner should be you're supposed to have a real judge. But the problem being is that in CPS law or CPS court or family court, you let the proceedings be run by a judge, not you, but that's the way that's set up that way. They're not a jury trial. Only in criminal proceedings are there jury trials. And I think jury trials should be in everything. Also, you need to have this attorney represent you. Now, at the very beginning, do you have any money to hire a professional attorney?
I did.
All right. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make, you get the wrong attorney. Was this attorney fought CPS and won kids getting back? Is this a well-experienced attorney? In the beginning.
No, he was an attorney who I went to see somewhere in the valley. You're familiar with that. I paid him $75 or $100 for a consultation. He said, this is when I was answering to my divorce file. He said, hey, listen, this is just a preliminary hearing. Nothing is going to happen during this hearing. Go see what they decide. Pay me for my consultation today and come back with whatever they want, and then we'll proceed with whatever we need to do.
Okay. See, that was the mistake that most people make. The problem is they don't look at the background of the attorney they're dealing with. That attorney is not a CPS attorney. He's not juvenile law or family law. What you need to do is you get 3 quotes. You don't pay any attorney any money. You get 3 quotes, and you pick the one that has the best chemistry, but also meets the criteria that they are experienced in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. And you talk to at least 3 people. You don't talk to one or because the guy sounds good or anything else. Because what you got is you got an ambulance chaser attorney. He doesn't care about you. You mentioned that he asked for his money. If he's only talking about money, tell him you want nothing to do with him. Anytime anybody in the legal field, every other word is about money, pay me this, pay me that, isn't worth bothering them. You can find there are thousands and thousands and thousands of attorneys. It may take you a long time calling a lot of them, but you eventually find one that you can ask them 2 questions. Question one: are you a licensed juvenile juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney who has won cases of getting kids back in CPS matters? If the answer is yes, then you go to the second question. And the second question is: have you ever, after the case is over, have you ever done a lawsuit against CPS and won money back? If the answer is yes, then you can proceed on. But I don't think you asked those 2 questions. I think you went with somebody that was just listening to you that wanted to draw you in for the money. He kept talking about consultation. Most attorneys, a good CPS attorney, do not require money up front to consult them. They don't require money up front. That is a red flag if they require money. You want to stay away from them. Now, I know you can't go back and change what had happened, but your second mistake was to sign that stipulation in court because you didn't have an attorney there present. And also, if you come to court and you don't feel it's right or you don't feel ready, then you can ask for a continuance. There's nothing wrong with asking for a continuance. And you can say an important situation that you're not prepared, that you need to talk to your attorney. And it's required by law that everybody have representation. So you could ask for a continuance. You did not see the red flags in that first thing when they ask you to sign a stipulation. That's wrong. Third thing, you're very angry about what your wife is doing. She is not only asking for divorce, she's asking full custody. And she's made some false allegations to CPS and got CPS involved. Once CPS is involved, they're very corrupt. 50% of them are bad. And in LA County, which you're in, that is one of the worst counties to be handling a CPS case. 50% of all the social workers are bad. 50%, and they're going to go there and they will side with the wife there. And so it's a hard thing because you're upset about the divorce. And if you got a woman who's scorned, who is bitter, she's going to drain you. In the state of California, it isn't a man's state, it's a woman's state. So the woman cries out divorce or wants divorce, she'll get everything. She can make up anything she wants. She could be a prostitute and run up your credit card. She has no responsibility for those bills. She has no responsibility for anything. And so I'm trying to tell you is that you're hit twice there. You're hit by CPS and you're hit by a scorned wife. And the best thing for you to do is to have an attorney present there because the attorney can stop things. He would have recognized that no, my client would like to have a real judge. Now, the judges in family court, dependency court, juvenile court are the worst because it's done decided by a referee, a judge who may not be fully qualified. And you're going to have to filter that in there. Now, it sounds like it's gotten worse because you got married a second time and something happened to that second marriage. And now CPS has a history of you because you're involved with your first wife. So they're going to come after you hard and heavy. They're in there to make money because they need that salary of 175, 150, whatever the salary is, because it's $1 trillion business. Every time a child's taken in, they get $20,000 per month per child. If the child's special need, to get additional $10,000. And if the child gets adopted in foster care, they're given a bonus by the U.S. government of $35,000. It's terrible. You're in a very corrupt, terrible, terrible, terrible situation. And you're right about your civil rights. If your civil rights are violated, you have every right to make that complaint. But you have to also control your anger. You have to control your emotions, and that's the hardest thing to do when you represent yourself. That's why people get an attorney. The attorney is not emotion, and he is going or she's going to see the best way to pursue your case. And so right now you've lost your children through the first marriage. Now you have your second one, and I guess you're losing your children. You had your children because the second wife has a lover, and it's not good to have the children in a one-room place. So they need their own private space. So where are you at on that second marriage? Where are you at on that one?
We're here. We went to court on the 13th.
Okay.
All the attorneys said, including CPS, said that it's okay for the children to stay home. And the judge encouraged us to come together as to company. Now, I had just celebrated that very day that luckily my kids are not removed from my home. So I took my kids on a trip. While we're on a road trip driving around Los Angeles area, the mother is calling us saying DCFS, the social worker is breathing down her neck to bring the kids to me, either at my house or the mother's house. And we're saying, hey, we had just left the court at 12:30. And it's what, 2:33, 4 o'clock in the afternoon? We're taking a trip to San Bernardino. She didn't call us and prearrange these meetings. She didn't say, I want to meet with you. And now she's demanding to see the children now. I told them, I'm sorry. We're going to probably be in traffic for the next 3 hours or so.
What about your attorney? What about your attorney? You said you have an attorney. What is he or she doing?
Court's appointed. Social Security, disability.
I know. Okay. Anytime you use a court-appointed attorney, anytime you have to let out the emotion about being American or whatever your culture is. What you have to do is you have to deal with a court-appointed attorney. You have to follow that court-appointed attorney. So you have no choice. You have to immediately stop your trip and come to CPS. You have to understand, if you're going to use a court-appointed attorney, you're not going to win your case. You might as well just bend over and let them do anything they want to do to you. Because in order to get through this mess, no, let's don't be sarcastic about robbing a bank. I'm trying to tell you, my experience has shown, and of the 2,950 people, if you're going to use a court-appointed attorney, you have to go with them and do exactly what social services ask you to do. Don't fight it. If they want to see you right away, tell them you'll be there. It'll take you 3 hours with traffic to be there. That's all you do.
What's your alternative to the attorney?
Well, if you don't have the funds, my alternative was I quick sell my home.
Then you robbed the bank.
I did not rob a bank. No, I left my forever home. Hey, all right. I see the problem you're having because you're arguing with me and you don't even know me. And I'm sitting here on my free time to help you, and you're sitting here talking on me. Well, thank you so much for calling, but I have to end this conversation because it's too argumentative. I'm sorry to all the listeners in there. I have a very disgruntled man who has a lot of anger and hate with people. And it's really hard. Also, my show is ending pretty soon here. It's 9 o'clock, and I got to end my show. I had this person called RC. I don't know where you're from, but you had to pay over $10,000 for a good attorney to fight CPS. I paid $350,000. I won the case ultimate, but CPS did everything they could to try to steal my child. They will. It's a money incentive, RC. Please tell me where you're from. Please tell me where you're from. And again, I'm sorry to the listener from Long Beach who wanted to talk, but he's too argumentative. And with that kind of person, he's not where. His lesson, he's learning a valuable lesson, is that if you use a court-appointed attorney, you have to go with it. You have to do exactly the court-appointed attorney tells you to do and what CPS does. You cannot fight them with court-appointed attorneys. They work for CPS. They're paid by CPS. So you can file a lawsuit against them for neglect. You can file a civil lawsuit and try to go after your attorney for neglect. You can also have the attorney disbarred by making a complaint against their license at the state capitol, like in California, Sacramento. You just contact the state bar for attorneys and you say, I wish to make a formal complaint, and they'll investigate him. If they find it's true, he'll lose his license. He'll lose his license. Also, with a court-appointed attorney, you can ask for a second one if the one you're working with doesn't have the chemistry or works with you on this. So I'm telling you, you have to be careful out there. You have to be really, really careful. I want to thank you all for listening. Again, I'm sorry for the guy who had to turn off, but it was being destructive. He wasn't going anywhere. So anyway, I want to thank RC from wherever you're at for sharing a little bit of information. Christina Reynoso, I cannot thank you enough for keeping me in touch, keeping me informed, and helping out all my people that come in my room. You're a lifesaver on that. You've also helped me with prepared documentation. I thank you, Christina. You're very good at what you do. And I'm glad that I found you to part of my room. She's from Las Vegas, Nevada. Been a part of my room for a long time. To all my listeners out there, I'm going to be on again tonight at 7 p.m. That's my birthday night, but I'll be with you guys at 7 p.m. tonight. And I want to thank you all for sharing your stories and listening to me. I'm here to help you twice a day, 7 days a week. So I'm not giving up. I'm here. I care. Also, please don't give up on your children. Do not give up on your children. You want to keep fighting them. If you feel discouraged, then come in and listen to my show. Now, I'm taking down my phone number and put in the Department of Government Efficiency. This is a website. They're investigating government malpractices and abuse by the government agency. And they're investigating social services, which includes the child protection system. And on the website, it'll tell you exactly what they're doing, what they've been doing. They also have 2 phone numbers. Area code 202, they do work. It's the White House. And when you call the numbers, they will talk. There's also an email address. It's at doge@mail.house.gov. And there you can send in your complaint. If you try to work it at the county level and you've talked to the supervisor, the manager, and the director, and you got nowhere, then you went to the state capitol, talked to the civil rights coordinator about your problems with CPS. If that doesn't work, then you go to the federal government and go to Doge and tell them about your problems. They will help you. They will help you. So I'll leave that on. There's going to be a brief video for you to watch. God bless everyone. Have a beautiful day on my birthday. Celebrate it. Enjoy the world. Be thankful that you're alive and that you're free and wherever you're at. And come back and see me again. God bless you.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last one.